Is this police brutality or justifiable force? Does the picture tell the full story? Courtroom arguments on both sides today. Congressional check bouncers, a new push to actually name names.
I don't know how some of these folks slept at night, given the kind of books that they kept.
And a rich to richer story straight out of the 1980s. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening, Dan Rather reporting. Opening arguments today in the case of Los Angeles police accused of brutality. Millions of people around the world have already seen the amateur video of white police officers beating an unarmed black motorist. Today, that videotape was seen through the eyes of a jury. Ron Allen is covering the trial.
The crux of this trial is the videotape that caught the four officers in the act. This morning, the prosecutor's pictures focused strongly as his words.
You have a man who is down, a man who is not aggressive, a man who is not resisting. Yet those blows from Officer Powell and Officer Wynn's batons continue and continue and continue.
On the videotape, Sergeant Stacy Kuhn is seen holding wires from two electric darts he fired at King. Kuhn, 41, a 14-year veteran, was supervisor on scene that night. He's charged with assault and trying to cover it up. Officer Lawrence Powell on the left hit King the most, more than 45 times. Powell, 29, has 3 years with LAPD. Along with Kuhn, he's charged with assault and lying on his police report. Powell was training rookie Tim Wind, who's on the right, hitting and kicking King more than a dozen times. Wind, 31, just 3 months on the force, has been fired and now faces assault charges. And the tape shows Officer Ted Persino stomping on King's head once. Persino, 39, also charged with assault, is a 9-year LAPD veteran who was suspended 5 years ago for excessive force.
May it please the court.
Today, their attorneys base much of their defense on what they say happened before the tape rolled, when the officers say they were about to handcuff King and believed he was high on drugs.
29-year-old single man.
He rolled back and forth, pulled his arms away from the officers, and pushed himself up, throwing Powell off to one side and Persino off to the other.
The conclusion of every officer who was there at the scene was that they had a duster on their hands, a person who was under the influence of phencyclidine, PCP, or angel dust.
And when the defense looks at the tape, they see something completely different than most of the public. Justified force by cops in danger.
Tim Wind used the baton. He acted in accordance with his training. Tim Wind also uses what's called the front kick. It's also called the departmentally approved front kick.
The incident happened in Los Angeles, but the defense got the trial moved to neighboring Ventura County, largely white and conservative. The jury of 7 men and 5 women has no black members. As the trial unfolded today, one defense attorney broke ranks with the others and said 2 of the cops were out of control. Eventually, Rodney King will take the stand and explain his behavior the police are trying to make the central issue in the trial. Ron Allen, CBS News, Ventura County.
In Washington, the House of Representatives of the people of the United States is in an election year uproar over money in the bank. Not your bank, theirs. At issue is whether you should be allowed to know the names of all members of Congress who used the House bank to write bad checks. From Capitol Hill, Bob Schieffer has the latest. Bob?
Dan, the House Ethics Committee has decided to urge Congress to release the names of only the worst abusers, 24 members and former members of Congress who were among those writing thousands of hot checks on the now-defunct House bank. They decided not to make all the names public because some of the violations were minor, but the panel chairman conceded some of the abuses were also startling.
I was rather shocked by the number of checks that were written and the size of the overdrafts in certain cases. As I said to some others, I don't know how some of these folks slept at night.
It's closed now, but despite its looks and name, the institution that operated for decades in this Capitol suite was not really a bank, but a place where members of Congress could deposit their pay and write personal checks. But unlike your bank, checks were often cashed, even when there were no funds to cover them. The bank just held the checks until additional deposits arrived. Some members clearly abused the privilege. The committee discovered that over the last 3 years, at least 20,000 checks were written when there were insufficient funds to cover them. Some members had overdrafts totaling more than $100,000. Although many overdrafts were minor, 355 members of Congress, ranging from House Speaker Foley, the top Democrat, to the House's number 2 Republican, Newt Gingrich, had recorded overdrafts over the last 3 years. One reason that the first cries of cover-up came from freshman members.
Mr. Speaker, there's only one way to resolve all of this controversy, and that's to release all of the names.
What we have is a system here that is decayed and corrupt, and we need to do something about it.
Even though no taxpayer money was lost in the bank transactions, it has triggered citizen outrage still evident today.
It's like the privileged class almost.
Make them do like everybody else. If they want to have an overdraft protection, make them sign up for it at the bank. Make them pay the interest.
Whether any more information about this becomes public is not yet clear, but even the innocent here, Dan, know this is going to be heavy baggage to carry into an election year.
Bob Schieffer, live on Capitol Hill. Thanks. In America in the 1980s, what former President Reagan and those who support him called the Reagan Revolution put more money in the pockets of the rich. We already knew that. But a new study indicates that those who did best of all, by far, were the very richest of the rich. Correspondent Bob Fall has the details.
The new figures compiled by the Congressional Budget Office show that in the 1980s, for Americans of privilege, the music was very sweet. From 1977 to 1990, a staggering 60% of the increase in after-tax income in this country went to just 1% of all families, those making at least $310,000 a year.
The United States now has greater disparities of income than virtually any Western European country.
The numbers show the rich did get richer, while the bottom 40% of families saw their income decline during the Carter-Reagan years, and the typical American family saw its income creep up just 4%. For that top 1%, incomes exploded, up 77%.
Look at this. If we don't have a new economic policy for the 90s, you're going to have more and more and more people working harder, making less, and the country losing its economic leadership.
One reason so much wealth went to so few, while top income tax rates were slashed, compensation for executives skyrocketed. By 1990, according to one survey, bosses were making 120 times as much as an average worker. 15 years earlier, they were making only 35 times more.
The American CEOs who went over to Japan were paid on average about 8 times as much as their Japanese counterparts. We should think about that.
But today, when toes were being lovingly tended to on Miami's Gold Coast and where shopping bags were bulging on Beverly Hills Rodeo Drive, there were voices which argued good times for the rich can mean good times for others, too.
Well, I don't believe in the politics of envy. And the fact that people who work hard and invest, and if they do it honestly, and they're doing very well, I think that's terrific.
While there's some dispute about the meaning of the numbers, they virtually guarantee that the issue of tax fairness will be front and center in the presidential campaign, even though it wasn't even on the agenda here. Bob Fall, CBS News, New York.
Federal banking regulators tonight rejected the $1.33 billion settlement offered by Michael Milken to settle government civil suits against him. The government says it needs more information before signing any deal with the jailed junk bond manipulator. The proposed deal would have left Milken and his family with a reported $500 million at minimum. And then there were 4. As CBS News first reported yesterday afternoon, Democrat Bob Kerrey is out of the presidential race. The senator from Nebraska made it official today.
After New Hampshire, I was delighted, or at least I appeared delighted, to say that I had won a bronze. Then went on to South Dakota and was happy to be able to say that I won a gold. But after Tuesday, I feel a little like the Jamaican bobsled team. We had a lot of spirit, but unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of medals.
Kerry now considered a vice presidential possibility. He said he would have no problem supporting any of the other Democratic presidential candidates. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, private lives, politics, and the press. Are the standards for candidates too high? And a new debate over pain and painkillers. Who decides how much a patient can take?
Does your washing machine like to dance? When it gets unbalanced, does it shred its stuff instead of cleaning yours? What you need is a strong, silent type. The Frigidaire Horizon 2000. Unlike some washers, it adjusts to unbalanced loads and keeps on running. Frigidaire. Clean clothes without the song and dance. And now get up to $75 cash back on built-to-last appliances from Frigidaire.
How could this happen? They've taken the secret.
Europeans are upset. The Kellogg's Muesli cereal uses their secret recipe.
This we kept in the family.
After all, they've been guarding this delicious secret forever. Ah, but this luscious blend of sweet fruit, crunchy nuts, and crisp whole grains was destined to become Kellogg's Mueslix.
Angelina, you told?
It wasn't me. I swear.
Kellogg's Mueslix, the European secret for great taste.
No pain, no gain. That may be a good motto when you're exercising in the gym, but it's bad medicine if you're in the hospital and recovering from surgery. As CBS News health correspondent Edie Magnus reports tonight, the government now says more pain medicine could very well mean a faster recovery.
Hollywood's fictional account of one woman's suffering is a real-life nightmare for more than half of all hospitalized patients in the U.S.
My daughter's in pain! Give her the shot, you understand? You're going to behave. Give my daughter the shot!
Today, the government urged America's healthcare workers to stop begrudging painkillers to their patients. Too much may be dangerous, but officials warn too little can be just as bad. New guidelines introduced today urge physicians to administer morphine to patients after surgery more regularly, not just on an as-needed basis, which forces the patient to actually complain.
Not only can this prevent unnecessary suffering, but it can mean that patients recover faster and leave the hospital earlier.
Critics of the current system say the problem is fear. Fear on the part of practitioners they'll be sued if something goes wrong, and fear that painkillers make addicts of patients.
They think that they're going to hook the patient on the drug, and then they'll rob strip shopping centers. They'll hit little old ladies over the head and steal their purses. That's what an addict does. Patients who are taking these medications for pain don't do things like that.
Instead, what they do is suffer. Of hundreds of letters Dr. Hill received from patients across the country, one woman who'd had 5 back surgeries wrote, "I'm tired of being made to feel by doctors, pharmacists, and even family that I'm a dopehead and a chronic complainer."
The patient is the only one that knows the intensity of their pain and what relieves them.
Soon, more patients may be able to relieve their own pain. The new guidelines support using intravenous drips of painkillers, which are controlled by the patient. Dan?
Thanks. Stay with us here for more CBS News, including a nightmare for many needy Americans who are left to wait for benefits that they're entitled to.
This is regular. This is better. This Bayer is regular, but for headaches, Anacin is better. This is regular. This is better. This Bufferin is regular, but for headaches, Anacin is better. What makes Anacin better? It's simple. Regular Bayer and Bufferin have one ingredient for pain, but Anacin has 2 ingredients, an effective pain medicine plus a second ingredient that makes Anacin work better. For headache relief, get Anacin. Get better.
What's with the 5th glass?
It's Sunsweet prune juice with prune pulp, hon.
Be still my heart.
It has bits of real prune. For more fruit flavor.
Tastes richer.
No, costs about the same as regular Sunsweet. Sunsweet prune juice with prune pulp.
Hey, I'll be home.
Thank you for a lovely dinner.
Aren't you going to ask me in? For coffee?
Well, I do have taster's choice.
Then how can I refuse?
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
Well,
Just one more cup?
you said that 2 cups ago.
You know how much I love your coffee.
Then, by all means, take it with you.
This farming community looks peaceful and serene, but there are kids in the hood trying to be like the big city street gangs.
Here's a handgun that's been taken.
Ed Bradley's Street Stories tonight.
New government figures indicate that a record number of Americans, almost 13.5 million, are receiving help from other Americans in the form of government welfare payments to help pay for food, clothing, and shelter. That is an increase of 2 million since the recession began. Nearly 1 million people who are eligible for other government assistance are still waiting in line. That's for Social Security help. As Bruce Morton reports, Washington's answer to their plight is to let them wait.
David Pritchard, former deputy sheriff and corrections officer, can't work because he has emphysema. He applied for Social Security disability payments. It took almost 2 years to process his claim while he lived here in his cousin's garage.
It did have its moments. Consider there's nothing out there but an electric cord. And it floods.
Pritchard says he was surprised by the almost 2-year delay.
I thought if you were at a certain age or disabled that you would just receive your benefits without lawyers, hearings, administrative law judges, denials, case workers, which change regularly. So I'm surprised.
He shouldn't be. A congressional hearing heard today from Lewis Moore of Baltimore, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart problems, whose disability appeal has been pending since October 1990.
I have been homeless, living at church shelters in Baltimore.
In fact, the problem keeps getting worse because the Bush administration's budget won't let the Social Security Administration hire enough people to process all the claims. The backlog of disability claims reached 800,000 this fiscal year and should reach 1,300,000 next year.
By your own admission, you say that the backlog is going to increase 70% in disability cases. Now, that's not absurd, that's tragic, and it's irresponsible.
Back in Sacramento, old corrections officer Pritchard summed it up.
There are people who are in need of what they have coming. What you got coming, you got coming. It's prison jargon.
Prison jargon, maybe. Washington bureaucracy jargon, no. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Washington.
In Japan, they buy a remarkable new car that comes with 7,041 miles already on it. The Honda Accord from Marysville, Ohio, the best-selling American-made car in Japan.
The medical facts are clear. Tylenol is so gentle on your stomach, doctors even recommend it to their ulcer patients for everyday aches and pains. They know Tylenol can't aggravate an ulcer the same way aspirin can. That's important for all of us to know. And so is this. Hospitals use Tylenol 23 times more than all aspirin brands combined. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Like to try Total?
Officially, I'm a Nutri-Grain man.
Hope you're hungry.
I could eat my whistle.
Good. You'll have to eat 4 bowls of Nutri-Grain to get all the vitamins and minerals in 1 bowl of Total.
4 bowls?
Yes. Whole grain Total has 100% of a day's supply of 12 vitamins and minerals.
4 bowls?
Takes 4 bowls of Nutri-Grain for that.
The call goes to Total.
Is that official?
Yes.
Total. 1 bowl, 100%.
I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Paula Zahn. Think you can eat and lose weight at the same time?
We'll tell you which foods can help you tomorrow on CBS This Morning. It's breakfast for your head.
Another warning today for Saddam Hussein. Britain said the Allies have not ruled out a new military strike to force Saddam to comply with the UN ceasefire deal and give up his weapons of mass destruction. CBS News correspondent Alan Pizzi is inside Iraq, and he reports that there are no signs of Saddam's grip on power loosening.
A few months ago, the undercurrent in the streets and bazaars of Baghdad was one of rebellion. Iraqis were beginning